So you're interested in the weather trends in South Texas. How about temperatures? How about the humidity? How about the different seasons? What kind of storms do we have down here? Well, guess what? We're gonna get into all of that and much more right now. Okay, so if you have not already done so, please subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and you'll be notified whenever I post another video. So I love to show you San Antonio, the different areas, the surrounding areas, and I also love to keep you updated on what's going on with real estate. So today we're talking about the weather in South Texas. Now, primarily the San Antonio area, but we'll talk about the other areas, Houston, Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. How about the Gulf Coast? Okay, so we'll talk about it all. Let's just start with temperature and humidity. So as you probably already know, we're talking about South Texas, so we're talking about a warmer climate. It's going to be warmer pretty much year round than up north. As I am recording this video, today is March 1st, so we're approaching spring. We're still officially in winter, but our climate has been very, very mild. And this is not unusual for South Texas, okay? We've had 70s and 80s. In the last couple weeks, we've even come really close to 90 and maybe have hit 90 on one or two of those days. That's a little unusual this early in the season, but it does happen. So if you're a person who doesn't like warm weather, hot weather in the summertime, then this is probably not the place for you. If you're considering a move, you might want to look someplace else. We have very mild winters. January and February are typically our coldest months, and we'll get some freezing temperatures, but they usually don't last, okay? So if we get a cold front come through, then we can get some sub-freezing temperatures. Now, when I say sub-freezing, below 32 degrees, 32 degrees is freezing, right? Yeah, so we'll get some freezes. We're not talking sub-zero temperatures like they get up north, but down here where we're used to much milder climates, when it gets below freezing, that's cold. But again, it doesn't usually last very long, day or two, maybe 3, and after that it'll warm back up, you know? So that happens. As for the humidity, the average humidity in San Antonio is about 80%. That's in the morning, and as you go throughout your day, as the temperature warms up, usually the humidity will go down. This morning, just as I was shooting this video, I was checking on this, and the humidity was right at about 80%. I checked Houston, they were at about 78, so they were a little bit lower, but Houston's humidity is typically just a little bit higher than San Antonio. They're closer to the water, and so that affects their humidity. Personally, I'm not bothered by humidity very much, but my wife complains about it a lot. She curls her hair, and if it's humid, she says that the curls will fall. Her hair might get a little frizzy or something like that. It doesn't bother me. The warm temperature doesn't bother me much because everything here is air conditioned. Everybody has air conditioning in their cars or vehicles. All the buildings are air conditioning pretty much. Everybody has air conditioning in their house. Sometimes air conditioning can be considered a luxury when you're up north, but when you're down south in this kind of a heat, it's more of a necessity. And so pretty much everything is air conditioned. So the only time you're dealing with that kind of a heat usually is when you're going from your house to your car. If your car is parked outside or in your garage, it can get a little hot in the garage as well. But you get in your car and you turn on the air conditioning, so it's not that big of a deal. Unless you have a job where you work outside, and then I can see where it could be an issue for you. Now, as far as like going outside to do yard work at your house, you're gonna wanna do that early in the day, in the morning, before it gets really hot. So you have to kind of get up and go get that done, because you don't want to be out there in the afternoon when it's 90 degrees and the sun's beating down on you and you're, mowing the lawn or whatever. So that's one thing to consider. You just have to be cognizant of, hey, I got to get out early and get this done because it's going to get hot. But again, so for the different seasons, it's warm here most of the time. It gets hot during the summer months, especially July, August, and into September. Then it'll start to cool back down some. I think the main thing that you're going to want to know about the weather here is that it's going to be hot in the summer and we have very mild winters. Probably similar to what they have in Florida, but in Florida you have the hurricanes to deal with. And here in San Antonio, the hurricanes don't really affect us. We're just far enough away from the coast that it doesn't affect us. Now, in Houston, again, I already said they're a little closer to the water. They're a little closer to the Gulf. So they can be affected by a hurricane if it's coming in their direction. And I've seen where they will evacuate and come this way when there's a big storm heading their way. Now, definitely if you're on the coast down by Galveston or Corpus Christi or someplace like that, if there's a storm heading that way, you're gonna have to evacuate, just kind of like the people do in Florida. But that's what I love about San Antonio. I feel like we're pretty much a perfect location. We don't get the hurricanes here because we're too far from the coast. We don't get the cold weather, we're too far south for the most part. Anything can happen anywhere, but California, obviously you have the earthquakes. I was watching the news today and they were worried about landslides because it was raining and it was windy. If you live in California, don't buy a house on a cliff because the wind and the rain will erode that soil, and next thing you know, your house is sliding down the cliff. Not to mention if you get an earthquake, my goodness. But anyway, yeah, we don't usually get anything like that here. So we don't get the blizzards from up north. It's very infrequent for us. There hasn't been an earthquake here, not to say that there couldn't be. Mother Nature is kind of unpredictable. Now, again, the further south you go, the warmer it gets. So if you go down more towards Mexico, then yeah, the temperatures tend to get even warmer than they are here. If you go down towards the Gulf Coast, we have some pretty nice beaches and we're not that far from the beach. You know, you can get there in a couple of hours. So let's recap. Hot summers, mild winters, humidity is about 80% in the morning and it tends to taper off in the afternoon. You can expect temperatures to be in the 90s during the hot summer months, okay? Yeah, we get to 100 sometimes. Sometimes it goes above 100, but that's not normal. So let's talk about sunshine. It's really about 50-50 here. We get sunny days, we get overcast days. So it's about 50-50. Today it's kind of overcast. Tomorrow it may be clear blue skies, you know? So if you're a person that wants to live where there's sunshine all the time, again, this may not be the place for you because it's about 50-50. But I have said it before and I stand by it. There's no place else I would want to live. San Antonio is the city that I love, and the weather is a large part of the reason for that, okay? Not having the bad weather phenomenons that you will see in other places is a huge benefit in my opinion. So I love that. We don't have to worry about a lot of things that you have to worry about when you live in other places, okay? But it's not perfect. So yeah, it's not sunny all the time, but we do get our share of sunshine. I don't really own a heavy winter coat because there's really not a need for that down here. I don't own an ice scraper for my car because there's really not a need for that down here. I don't own a snow shovel because there's no need for that here, okay? So those are the things that I look at. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Again, if you would subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. Hit the bell and you'll be notified when I post another video. My contact information is always in the comments below the video. So you can call me, you can text me, or you can schedule a Zoom. If you're thinking of moving to this area, I would be more than happy to help you any way I can. I have been here for 30 years, so you're gonna have a hard time finding someone that really knows more about this area than I do. So call me, let's talk. Until then, take care.